The Chief Auto Parts Winter Nationals in Pomona kicked off the 1986 season with nearly $500,000 up for grabs in the Winston Points Chase. During qualifying came this horrendous accident as Ron Correnti was struck from behind by the funny car of Dave Uhara. Uhara burst into flames, went down the racetrack without the body, but the parachute was out, and he brought it to a safe stop. Ron Correnti also was able to bring his damaged car to a safe stop. Neither driver was injured in this incident. In the first round of funny car racing, Ed McCulloch was in the near lane, Dale Paldy in the far lane. McCulloch had a horrendous engine explosion. The engine just disintegrating itself and taking the body with it. McCulloch did a masterful job of driving through this incident. When the engine exploded, he was seated dead center in that fireball. Both parachutes were out, and he was able to bring the car to a safe stop. Ed McCulloch uninjured in the fire. In the semifinal round of funny cars, Kenny Bernstein raced against Tim Gross. Bernstein won 6 national event titles last season to carry him to the Winston World Championship. But in this race, it was some smoking tires that put Bernstein out of the race and gave the win to Tim Gross. One race remained. John Force was looking for his first ever national event win, while Tim Gross was looking to win his second. With this event, Force had been in the final round of an NHRA national event 6 times and yet to win one. Force in the near lane, Tim Gross in the far lane. As they left the starting line, Gross pulled a slight advantage over Force and held on as he crossed the finish line, winning by about a car length. Gross had an elapsed time of 5.69 seconds at a speed of 236 miles an hour, and it was an exciting ride. As he neared the finish line, Gross began to have clutch problems, and lots of sparks began coming out from underneath that car, but he held on to win the race. The NHRA championship season then moved to Gainesville, Florida for the Motorcraft Gator Nationals. The final round of Funny Car Eliminator found 2 longtime veterans on the starting line, Ed McCulloch against Tom McEwen. But problems set in for Tom McEwen. As they attempted to start the nitro-burning engine, a head gasket pushed out, forcing McEwen to abort the run and gave the win automatically on a bye run to Ed McCulloch. He recorded an 11.25 second elapsed time, the slowest winning run ever in funny car history. Located just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta Dragway hosted the Castrol GTX Nationwide Southern Nationals. In the finals of Funny Car Eliminator, Ed McCulloch raced against Columbus, Ohio's Jim Head. The 2 cars left the starting line together, but at the finish line, Ed McCulloch won by just a couple of inches, marking back-to-back victories for Ed McCulloch in Funny Car Eliminator. And the NHRA National Event Series made its move to State Capitol Dragway near Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the Citgo Cajun Nationals. The final of Funny Car Eliminator found Billy Meyer against Tom McEwen. McEwen in the second final round of this season. He's only won 2 national events in a career that is dated back some 30 years, that in 1973 at the Super Nationals and the 1978 Nationals. This year, he added the Cajun Nationals title to his credit. The Winston World Champion, Kenny Bernstein, had problems at the Cajun Nationals. He lost in round number 1 to Johnny West. National Trail Raceway, just outside of Columbus, Ohio, the home of the 1986 Budweiser Spring Nationals. One of the shorter racetracks on this circuit. Just off the end of the racetrack, there's a road and a house. And Gary Phillips came down the racetrack on fire and out of control in funny car qualifying. He went through the sand trap, through the fence at the end of the racetrack, across the road, and ended up in the farmer's front yard. Gary Phillips was not injured in the incident. The National Hot Rod Association worked in cooperation with the local law enforcement officials to block traffic on that road during the qualifying sessions of Top Fuel and Funny Car, and The reasons why are extremely obvious, as Phillips used every bit of the racetrack, the sand trap, the road, and the farmer's front yard to bring the car to a halt. Two world champions met in the final of Funny Car Eliminator at the Budweiser Spring Nationals. Mark Oswald at the wheel of the Candies and Hughes car was in the near lane. He won the world champion title in 1984. But Kenny Bernstein in the far lane took it away from him in 1985. At the Spring Nationals, though, Mark Oswald gave car owner Paul Candies his first victory since the North Star Nationals in 1984. It had been a long time coming for the Candies and Hughes team, and they won decisively over the reigning world champion. It was a slight hole shot going to Kenny Bernstein, but the performance advantage went to Mark Oswald by some 0.04 of a second. That was just enough to put the Candies and Hughes car out in front at the finish line. The champion of the Budweiser Spring Nationals, Mark Oswald. The only NHRA national event held outside the United States, the Molson Grand Nationals at San Air Raceway near Montreal, Canada. Kenny Bernstein made it to the final round of an NHRA national event for the second race in a row when he raced against John Force. John Force instantly went up in smoke off the starting line. Bernstein down to the finish line, and his first victory of the 1986 season. The reigning Winston World Champ trying to garner the points to repeat as world champion. Just a few hundred miles southeast of Montreal, Canada, lies Englishtown, New Jersey, and Raceway Park. In Funny Car Eliminator, records were established at the Summer Nationals. It was Mark Oswald at the wheel of the Candies and Hughes car that recorded the quickest elapsed time in the history of Funny Car Eliminator at 5.56 seconds. Funny Car Eliminator also saw its share of problems. In the first round of elimination, Scott Coletta, driving the team car of his dad, Connie Coletta, exploded an engine, the body peeling back like the skin off of a banana. It was the parachute out, and Scott Coletta, 25 years old, brought the car to a safe stop. The finals of Funny Car Eliminator, a rematch of the recent race in Montreal, Canada. In the near lane, it was Kenny Bernstein against John Force in the far lane. Force again went up in smoke. Kenny Bernstein, for the second race in a row, into the winner's circle with a 5.65 second elapsed time. His speed over 259 miles an hour. From the heat and humidity of New Jersey to the high country of Colorado, the Mile High Nationals at Vandermeer Speedway near Denver, Colorado. The final in Funny Car Eliminator saw once again the pairing of Kenny Bernstein against Mark Oswald. These two cars were the class of the funny car field at the Mile High Nationals. And as they came to the starting line for the final round, Kenny Bernstein had the slight performance advantage over Mark Oswald. But at the finish line, where everything counts, it was Mark Oswald. After a tire-smoking middle-of-the-course charge, it was Oswald the winner for the second time this season over Kenny Bernstein. Oswald previously having won the Spring Nationals, also over Kenny Bernstein. This was one of those races that spectators will talk about for years to come. It was an almost dead-even start as the two cars blasted off the starting line. Oswald smoked the tires in the middle of the course, indicating lots of horsepower, and that proved to be true. As he approached the finish line, he pulled ahead of Bernstein and won the race. The Quaker State North Star Nationals was the next stop on the national event trail at Brainerd International Raceway near Brainerd, Minnesota. One of the most exciting occurrences of the 1986 season came in the first round of Funny Car Eliminator. Norm Day exploded an engine in his race against Tim Gross. Day's car crossed over in front of Gross, the parachute burning off. It went over into the grass and overturned. As the car rolled over, it apparently jammed the emergency escape hatch on top of the car, still burning fiercely, with Norm Day inside trying to get out of this car. The NHRA Safety Safari arrived on the scene, and so did fellow driver Tim Gross. Gross deciding that the best thing to do was try to kick in the side of the fiberglass body. Gross, along with the NHRA Safety Safari, got Norm Day out of the burning wreckage. The emergency medical technician on the scene immediately checking out Day as he experienced some minor burns around the hands as a result of this horrendous crash and resulting fire. Day was taken to a hospital, checked, and released, and was back at the racetrack the same day of this accident. This fire is a prime example of why NHRA requires in its safety rules and regulations a multi-layer fire suit, and fast action by the Safety Safari and fellow driver Tim Gross got Norm Day out of that car. The Quaker State North Star Nationals Funny Car Final saw a rematch of the 1986 Gator Nationals Final as Tom McEwen raced Ed McCulloch. This race also saw a couple of upsets as Kenny Bernstein and John Force, both consistent performers throughout the year, went out in the first round. Mark Oswald went out in the semifinals, and Ed McCulloch went out in the finals. Tom McEwen won his second race of the season at the North Star Nationals.
You avenged that Gator Nationals final when Ed McCulloch got you when you couldn't start.
At Gainesville, we had a little problem on the starting line. He made a single, and he's a great competitor. The old men of the sport.
Don Garlett's coming in to congratulate Tom McEwen.
This is his 3,085 national win and my second.
The biggest race of the year was on tap next, the U.S. Nationals, the granddaddy of them all at Indianapolis Raceway Park near Indianapolis, Indiana. And the largest crowd in the history of the U.S. Nationals had filled this massive complex to overflowing. They came to see records established, and they were not disappointed. The quickest and fastest funny car run in the history of drag racing came from Kenny Bernstein when he recorded 5.50 seconds at over 271 miles an hour in qualifying. He was never close again to those numbers, and as a result, there was no record established, but they saw the quickest and fastest. The racing was close also. In the Big Bud Shootout, it boiled down to Mark Oswald and John Force, two of the most consistent performers of the season. On Sunday at the U.S. Nationals over Labor Day weekend, Mark Oswald won $30,000 as he won the Big Bud Shootout title. Mike Dunn was driving Joe Pisano's car in the finals of Funny Car Eliminator against Billy Meyer. No, you're not seeing wrong. It looks like Kenny Bernstein's car, and here is why. In qualifying, Billy Meyer exploded the Mustang body off of his race car. The crew spent a lot of hours working to get the car back into racing condition. Kenny Bernstein loaned him the spare body off of his own race car, and they were able to repair the vehicle after this horrendous explosion and put the car into competition, and Billy Meyer in the finals against Mike Dunn. Dunn went up in smoke, then Billy Meyer broke something in the drivetrain. Dunn went on to be the surprise winner.
Lead change stance a couple of times, and that doesn't happen too often in a drag race.
Oh yeah, that's when it's exciting, when you get them lead changes going down the track. It was a very good race. I gotta give credit to Joe Pisano and Gary Slesher and the rest of the crew. They did a great job, and this is a lot. I like getting TV coverage this way better than the other way, let me tell you.
Set in the rolling hills of eastern Pennsylvania, one of the most beautiful racetracks on the NHRA National Event Trail, Maple Grove Raceway hosted the Castrol GTX Keystone National. In the semifinal round of Funny Cars, Brad Tuttle had an exciting ride in his race against Kenny Bernstein. Tuttle did everything right as he left the starting line first. Bernstein's power seemed to take advantage at this point, but then Brad Tuttle went topless. That's right, the top blew off his Mustang body. He was able to keep the car under control and brought it to a stop, but looking more as a roadster or a convertible than the Mustang body. Brad Tuttle uninjured, but without a top on the car. It is a difficult enough task to drive a modern-day funny car. There are a number of levers and buttons that must be pushed to control not only the transmission, but also the fuel delivery system. You don't need to worry about the top coming off, but that's what happened to Brad Tuttle. The win by Bernstein advanced him into the finals once again for this 1986 season. For the third time this season, Mark Oswald and Kenny Bernstein did battle in the finals of Funny Car Eliminator. In the two previous events, Mark Oswald prevailed over the reigning world champion and current points leader. At the Keystone Nationals, it was to happen for the third time this 1986 season. Mark Oswald defeated the man that was in the points lead and continued in hot pursuit of Kenny Bernstein, trying to once again reclaim the Winston World Championship title that he held back in 1984. It is interesting to note that all three of Oswald's victories this season have come as he overpowered Bernstein. Bernstein, who is noted for his consistency and his ability to outdistance the competition, has found himself in second place 3 times this season, all 3 times to Oswald, and all 3 by superlative performances turned in by the Candies and Hughes team. Throughout the year, the attention of the drag racing world was focused on Dallas, Texas, and the new Texas Motorplex, built by funny car racer Billy Meyer to host the Chief Auto Parts Nationals. This track is unique in the fact that it is concrete from starting line to finish line. That makes a difference.
Well, this surface is smoother than a baby's behind, far smoother than even the finest of asphalt compounds. Now, even a few years ago, a concrete quarter mile wasn't a practical situation because you had to have expansion joints every 30 or 40 feet. That would have made the track much too rough to race on. But this was built with what they call post-tension. Beneath the surface in both lanes, there are 3 giant cables that are stretched over 30,000 pounds of tension, and that is supposed to hold the whole thing together.
That concrete surface yielded some of the quickest elapsed times ever seen. Kenny Bernstein established a new national ET record at 5.54 seconds, but he also recorded the quickest time in history at 5.42. For the Candies and Hughes team and Mark Oswald to move into the record books, they established a new speed record for funny cars at over 268 miles an hour. As Oswald blasted through the traps at the record-shattering 268 miles an hour, the force of the air going over the Pontiac Trans Am body collapsed a couple of body supports. That, in turn, caused the body to literally break in half. Before the final rounds could be run at the Chief Nationals, one of those famed Texas thunderstorms swept across the Texas Motorplex. That, in turn, forced a delay into the nighttime hours, and the lights came on at the Motorplex on the finals in Funny Car Eliminator. Kenny Bernstein raced against Tom McEwen, but Bernstein's important race came in the semifinal round when he helped himself in his quest for a repeat world championship as he defeated Mark Oswald in the revered Candies and Hughes car. In the finals, it was Kenny Bernstein all the way. Elapsed time 5.54 seconds. His speed over 264 miles an hour. Firebird International Raceway, just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, was the site of the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals. The Funny Car World title was up for grabs at the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals. Kenny Bernstein had the lead with Mark Oswald in hot pursuit.
Kenny, 2 races remaining. What do you have to do at Phoenix to go into Pomona world champion again?
Well, I think a couple of things have to happen. We've got to come out of here at least with the same point spread that we have going in, 1,156 points, and then I think it would be over with, or do better. If Mark Oswald was to go out in the first round and we were to go 3 or 4 rounds further or win the race, it would be over with. So it can happen here, but more than likely, our luck, the way it's been all year, it won't.
You know, a couple of times this year, you had problems in the first round and left the door open for him, and he was unable to drive through it.
Well, more than a couple, 3 times exactly, and he did drive through it, and that's why it's such a points race today. We can't have that failure of losing in the first round here and having Mark win the event. If we do, it'll be a brand new ball game at Pomona.
Well, if you stay with him round for round, will you go to Pomona with still a chance?
It'd be a very slim one. We'd have to set both records in top speed, low ET, the whole deal. He needs to go out early at this race or we're pretty well finished.
But it was not to be. It was not Kenny Bernstein that went out early, but Mark Oswald. In the second round against Johnny West, the Candies and Hughes car went up in smoke right off the starting line. West won the race, but that put Mark Oswald out of the points competition for the World Championship title. The final round race between Kenny Bernstein and Jim Head just put the icing on the cake for the World Championship. Kenny Bernstein wore the big number 1 on the side of his car throughout the 1986 season. It will remain on the side of Kenny Bernstein's car as he won not only the Fall Nationals title, but the Winston World Championship title for the second year in a row. Bernstein with an overpowering victory over Jim Head at the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals at Firebird Raceway. The Los Angeles County Fairgrounds in Pomona, California ended the 1986 season for the NHRA Championship Trail almost as it began on the same quarter-mile racetrack that hosted the Winter Nationals.
After the way Kenny Bernstein dominated funny car racing in 1985, many people figured him an odds-on favorite to repeat in 86. However, things don't always go according to plan. Bernstein spent the first half of the season being plagued by little problems. However, by the Spring Nationals, Bernstein and Super Crew Chief Dale Armstrong seemed to have things sorted out. And although he lost the speed record to Mark Oswald, Bernstein was still the quickest and fastest funny car down the quarter mile. He became the first funny car to go over 270 miles per hour and the first into the 540s. Bernstein began racing in his native Texas in the 1960s. After a brief retirement to build up a restaurant chain, Kenny returned to full-time drag racing in 1978.
In Funny Car Eliminator, Billy Meyer made his third final round appearance of the season when he raced against the reigning and new Winston World Champion, Kenny Bernstein. For Meyer, it has been a season of peaks and valleys, perhaps best exemplified by the U.S. Nationals, where first he exploded and destroyed the body on the car, then made it into the finals to lose to Mike Dunn. Here he raced against Kenny Bernstein and watched as the world champion set a new track record of 5.56 seconds to win the race.
No, it was good. It just hooked up and did its thing. Budweiser, Motorcraft, Kangaroos, and Dale Armstrong and crew again. A super job for a great year. We're just glad to be part of all this, and to our fans especially.
We were glad to be part of it too. Congratulations.
Anytime, Steve. Thank you.